Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Chill Podcast. So, I have a very special guest with me this week again. It's Demi.
Hi. Hi, guys. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm super excited for this episode because I wanted to do more like a girl chat type of vibe. So, I'm very excited to hear your opinion on things. And then, yeah, let's just dive into all of the amazing topics.
Sure.
You guys read the title. Let's just get into it.
Yeah.
Okay, but first of all, how's things in life? How's things going? Tell me about it.
Yeah, it's festive. December, as they say. So things are getting a bit hectic. It's going to get very busy very quickly. And I feel like I haven't even recovered from last Christmas. And now it's Christmas again. The year went so fast and I don't know if I'm ready for the year to end. But overall, it's going okay. Things are going.
Yeah, literally, I was saying the other day, the year literally flew by. I feel like this happens all the time.
Yes.
It's we get
As
older.
you get older. Yeah. And how's things for you?
Things are great. Things are good. It's just that time of the year. I feel like it's supposed to be more relaxed and chill, but it's actually not.
The opposite. Maybe when you were a kid and you didn't have to do all of the Christmas admin, and now you have to. So yeah,
literally.
Very busy.
Literally. Okay, so the topics that I really wanted to speak about in this episode is mainly boys, sex, and just sexual wellness. Yeah. Is romantic love an illusion? And just speaking about relationships, friendships, and obviously I want to ask you about your New Year's resolutions and the things that you've learned this year about yourself. So yeah, let's get right into it. Okay, so I want to start off by speaking about boys. Okay, fun times. So I want to ask you, do you feel like the perfect guy exists, or do you think it's an illusion that kind of gets created through movies and having expectations on people? And or should we maybe face reality and understand that people are complex and all of those things? What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, so the whole perfect guy trope that you maybe see in the romance movies, it's a lot in books as well. That's obviously where I would see it the most. I feel it's complicated because on one hand, they show the guy in the movies bringing you flowers and the big gesture and all of that kind of thing, and then that doesn't happen always in real life. And then it's well, now you kind of compare your relationship to what you see on TV or even what you see on TikTok. There's couples and stuff, and I think it creates a general I don't know how to explain. Everyone's relationship is obviously different, right? So I don't know. I think the perfect guy in the media doesn't exist, and he doesn't have to exist because everyone's different, So I don't know. There's those standards that get put on guys and women all the time in the media. So yeah, I think that when you think perfect guy, that is kind of the media showed you certain ways and stuff like that, and then it kind of sets you up for disappointment. But then at the same time, I want flowers and I want the big gesture. Do you know what I mean? I don't know, you spoke about earlier about how do I actually like this, or is it just because it's trending or what I've been shown? So I don't know, I think it's very complicated, but I don't think the perfect guy exists, because no one, they're human. They're not just a product that the media made up. You know what I mean? So what's your experience with that, or thoughts?
I don't know. I feel I agree with that. I've always asked that question because you see a lot of people who maybe are lucky and they have the person, for example, you have Brandon and he's a sweetie, and you obviously see people in life and obviously on social media, and that you feel they've found the person that complements them.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm when I think about does the perfect guy exist in that kind of way. But I understand maybe it has to do with obviously the illusion or the subconscious things that get put at us, and it kind of creates unrealistic expectations about how someone should be. But I was actually having this conversation with someone the other day, and they were saying maybe your list is too long, maybe what you're looking for is too long. And I was just thinking, I actually don't want that much. It's just certain morals and values that you look for in people, not necessarily the physical features.
Yeah.
It's things for example, being a good person or being kind or making the effort,
Yeah.
being loyal, like those types of things are, it's not like that much to ask
No,
for.
it's not. It's really the bare minimum to be just like a decent person.
Literally.
So like, I don't think so. Like the perfect guy doesn't exist, but I think like the perfect guy for you exists, and like you can have your standards. Like I don't think it's too much to ask for those kind of things. Like of course, if you want him to like be super rich but also have all the time in the world to take you places and like do all these things that no one in a 24-hour day can do, like obviously those unrealistic expectations, like that doesn't, you know, that's why like you need the perfect person for you. So yeah, and like some people find that person and they're lucky, but yeah, it also just, yeah, I don't know, it's complicated because you don't want to like put anyone on a pedestal and put expectations on them that they can't reach, but you also should have your standards and you don't want to settle for someone that could like, especially when you see other people's relationships, like the guys going above and beyond, and then you think like, is it too much for me to ask for that if someone else is getting that without asking? Like you are allowed your standards. So yeah, I think there's like also a balance for that, like your expectations versus like what someone can give you. But like if someone else can also do it, then like why can't they? I don't know, you know, it's difficult also to like compare, because what we see on social media, like yeah, he's taking her all over the world, but like is he nice to her off camera, or you know, those kind of things. So I think that like it's a bit dangerous to compare like online compared to what actually the guys, you know, that's out there.
I don't know, like my experiences with different like guys, not necessarily like in serious like relationships, but just like, you know, if you like someone and then you talk to them and you spend time with them, it's like I notice like certain red flags with like people, and like I feel like when you start seeing those patterns in other people that come into your life now at a stage where you have learned certain lessons, you can identify certain red flags. Like some of them are things like they like to play games, for example. So like they will like message you and then all of a sudden act all interested, and then you put your effort in and then they're not interested. Or it's like things like where they try and put like you and like a friend to like against each other. It's like small things like that where it's like it's so unnecessary, and like I personally like I don't have time for that. So like you end up like almost putting up a boundary or like a wall because you don't want that type of energy. And like I feel like some guys, even at like an age when they should be more mature and more like emotionally like aware, they're not like. So I don't know, like I asked you like before, like what am I like what am I attracting? Like
the message you
like what energy am I giving off that I constantly attract like people that like are, I don't know, like they're immature, like they're not like nice people. And then also when you're making friends with guys, it's like they make things weird because you're like no, like don't make this weird, like don't ruin the friendship, like don't hit on me, like because you're just gonna end something like really good. So it's like it's very like complex. I don't know, like my track record with like relationships and like love, it's like it's just not oh my gosh. But I think like as you get older you start putting yourself first, and obviously that's what I'm doing. And like you want to be able to attract the right person by focusing on yourself. The next thing I want to ask you, okay, obviously we spoke a bit about it, but like, is romantic love an illusion? So basically, do you think it's like a fantasy that people give into? Or do you think it's actually a realistic goal and like a good standard to have?
I think like romance in a like being like romantic gestures and stuff, I don't think that's an illusion. Like I think if it comes naturally to you and you naturally want to do these things for someone and like have romantic evenings and whatever, it's all about like your connection. So I don't necessarily think it's an illusion, but I do think people make an image out of it in a way, like we said on TikTok and whatever, like the big gestures and the flowers and all of that kind of thing. But I think like, okay, I'm going to use me and Brandon for example. Like when we do romantic things together, like date nights or whatever, it's because we want to connect with each other. We want to do things that bring us closer together. Like when we were building the gingerbread house kind of thing. Like that's our version of romance. That's us sitting on the floor, like messing icing everywhere and just having fun. So I think for me personally, because I experience that in a very intimate way, well, not like that, but, you know, like we connect.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've obviously been together for like 9 years, like we're best friends, but then there's the romantic side to it in things like that, and just doing things for each other, you know, making time to connect. I think that for me is what romance means. It's not always the big dates and like, you know, flowers every single week. It's nice every now and then, but, you know, that's also just comparing. But like the gingerbread house thing, you wouldn't see that on a movie necessarily. Maybe you would, depending if it's like a Christmas like Hallmark movie.
I love those.
So like we do little things like that, and like we've painted pictures together, and, you know, just things to do to connect. That's our version of romance. So I don't think necessarily that it's an illusion, but I think people can make like an image out of it and have like a very rigid view of what romance maybe is. So yeah, no, I feel I've had a lot of romance in my life, luckily, you know, but that comes with like putting in the work, and like also people might think like romance is something so like easily come by, like it looks like it in the movies and whatever, but you actually really have to work. And that's what makes it like so much more like it affects you so much more when you've like worked for it, kind of thing. So yeah, in my experience, like I've had it like relationships before where it was more of like an image thing and not so much about like actually wanting to connect. And then in those instances, why did I say that like that? In those instances, I would say that was like a romantic illusion in a way. So yeah.
But I really want to ask you, what is the difference that you like, the differences that you see like in your relationship now with Brandon, compared to like previous ones that you've had, like in terms of him as obviously like a person and a partner, but also like the relationship like aspect of it. Like what are some of the differences that stand out that make this one the one that like is long lasting and more special?
So I think, and this is actually an issue that I see a lot of people talk about, is that they're dating someone and they love them, but they don't necessarily like them. I don't know if I'm making like any sense here, but when I was in, the only other relationship I've had was in high school, but it was like 2 years, you know, it was long term for like a 16-year-old, you know. You were with the person, but you didn't necessarily like them as like, I don't know, like genuinely interested in them. Like I feel Brandon is very genuinely interested in things that I think and that I am interested in. Like he'll ask me about the books that I like, and, you know, he wants to watch the movies that I want to watch because he wants to know what I like, where I feel before, like the guys never asked me about the things I like. Like if you had to ask them anything about my hobbies or anything about the things that I like or the food that I like, and they wouldn't be able to ask because they weren't like genuinely interested in those kind of things, which I see like very often. And then you're kind of like, well, how didn't you know that about someone? And it's like, well, we just like together, you're not like actually interested. So I think just him being like genuinely interested and involved, like actively involved, like he can tell you every single food that I dislike and why I dislike them, and all my favorite foods. Like he knows me inside and out. So I think that makes a big difference because he made the effort. And like it does obviously come with time and spending a lot of time together. But if I had to ask like the guy before, 2 years in, a list of like all the food I don't like versus Brandon 2 years in, a list of the food I don't like those, he would know exactly, and the other one wouldn't be able to tell you anything. Like he spoke about himself basically the whole time. So yeah, I think that's my main like difference between like the two relationships, is just like literally genuine interest, and not just to have a girlfriend or to have someone on your arm, or like just someone that's there kind of thing.
Yeah, no, like I fully agree with that. And I think that a lot of like from my own experiences as well, like the toxic traits that you can pick up on is like, does this person bring out the best in me, or like are they bringing out those parts of me that like I don't like, and like it makes me uncomfortable,
like the insecure parts of you.
Yeah, like the insecure parts, or like even like anger, like, you know, when someone makes you angry, I don't like, obviously I'm a very chilled person, but like if someone constantly is like going at you and it brings out a side of you that you don't like, like that's not nice. And like you want to make sure that you're in a safe space with someone. It turns
you toxic almost, and because you're like meeting their toxic energy in a way. So and
I just feel like it's wrong. Like you shouldn't you shouldn't like forcefully like bring out like the negative
bad
side of
side,
someone.
yeah.
I just
Yeah.
don't think that's like that's right. And I like the fact that you said like it is about the effort. Like I
Yeah.
feel like that is a really important love language as well. Like I
Yeah.
feel like it's important. And I can see like the way Brandon is with you. Like
Yeah.
he's like, hey, can like, do you want a drink?
Yeah.
And then
It's
you're
very
like,
thoughtful.
yeah, and you're like, yeah, please. And it's like, oh my gosh.
Biggest stan ever. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, like that is hot behavior.
Yeah.
Like that's really nice. Like I feel like I'm your biggest fan.
Yeah, literally. But we've gotten those kind of, like, not to brag or anything, but like, I think a lot of people have said like, oh, you and Brandon work so well together, and like you're such a good couple together and stuff. It's because we get each other. I don't know, you find that person. That's why I said like there's the perfect guy for you.
Yeah.
Because if I had to make a list of like, back then, like before we started dating, a list of like what my perfect guy was, like not a lot of those traits would be him in a way, because it was very like superficial traits.
Yeah.
It wasn't really like the deep things that you would think about. But like as I move on and like as we grow up, and like we've been with each other since like 16, 17, so we've seen like the like teenage years, the very young adult years, and now like mid 20s, you know, getting into careers. So we've grown up, like, you know, what was I saying?
I'm just like stunned because like,
So, like-
I'm like mentally taking notes, and I'm like, okay, cool, this is
Yeah.
this is really nice.
But
But that's why I like being friends with you, and like obviously like him as well, because like it's nice to be around like seeing like a healthy relationship. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying that you guys are perfect, because no one's
No.
perfect, but like it's really nice to see like how someone should be treated, and how
Yeah.
it's okay to like have certain standards. Because I'm not asking for like a Lamborghini.
No,
Like
you're literally not.
I'm just asking for a few good qualities. Like,
Yeah,
is that so
yeah,
much?
exactly.
Like, so it's really nice. Like, obviously being around you guys, because I get to see that and experience
Yeah.
it, which is really nice.
Yeah, and like obviously because we're in the relationship, we
Yeah.
don't always like realize how good it is when it's obviously really good. And like our arguments and stuff aren't like bad. Like we don't like throw shit at each other and stuff like that. Like when we have like all relationships have arguments, but that's how we got to this point in like understanding why the one person feels that way. It's normally me that brings something up that's like, I don't like this and this kind of thing. But like he's also very willing to learn, and he makes me want to also learn how to be better in a way,
Yeah.
because I'm a very stubborn person. I don't like to admit when I'm wrong kind of thing. But like I think he pushes like the soft side of me in a way, like to come out. Sometimes it doesn't, but you know, so like he's extremely patient. And one of the things from like the previous relationship, the like one or two other ones I've had, I've been told that I'm like very sarcastic and I'm very like abrasive kind of thing. And I can literally be so mean to Brandon, and so like sarcastic and so much attitude, and he just takes it so well. And I need someone like that, right? And it's not like I'm trying to like bait him, but like sometimes like I'll say something and I'll be so sarcastic and I'll say like whatever, and he will just like play along with it, or you know how to like kind of handle it in a way, where the other guys were just like, don't be like that. And I was like, you can't get the attitude out of me, it's in me kind of thing. So like we balance each other really well as well, which I think is also obviously a very important thing. So yeah.
I know, it's like I'm swooning literally. No, but I totally get that. Like I obviously have only had like one serious relationship in life, and like the difference that I felt when I was with that person was it almost felt like, it sounds really cheesy, but like that person almost feels like home.
Yeah.
And
comfortable.
yeah, and like because I've had such like not pleasant experiences with guys, because my kind of experiences are like they only want one thing, like they just want sex.
Yeah.
So they're not really interested in a relationship with you, and it almost makes you think like, what am, like another thing, like what kind of energy am I giving off that makes them not want to look at me in like a deeper way, or like in a relationship type of way. So like every time when I speak to someone, or like I'm even starting to be friends with like a guy, I make sure that it is like a boundary.
Yeah.
So it's not like so almost like they can get the message that like I'm not interested in that type of stuff. Like it's either a friendship or it's like it's nothing. So like that's just my experience. But when I finally found like the person that I really like fell in love with and everything, that person felt like home, and it felt really comforting, and they like like with you and Brandon, like you can almost just be yourself, like you
Yeah.
don't actually like need to like hide who you are, which is like, I'm really grateful for like that type of experience. But because you get guys that are like, even at our age, that are like so interested in like the whole hookup culture.
Yeah.
Like it's still happening like to this day. Like it's crazy. And then also when you see guys break up with people, they immediately like they're out the next night, they're doing their
Yeah.
thing, and then like me or like other girls are like sitting at home like trying to just work on yourself
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
just try and like live life and like move past
Yeah.
it. So like the whole hookup culture as well, like certain people you just gravitate towards,
Yeah.
and like you need to understand that there are red flags.
Yeah,
and if
yeah.
you want to invite that type of energy into your life, it's like, is it worth it or is it not?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like a fascinating type of topic.
Yeah, especially when like hookup culture, like do what you want to do, but for you specifically, like that's not what you're interested in, but somehow like you're attracting that like into your life for some reason. Like it's weird that hookup people don't attract each other. They're like, you know, but I think also because you're so nice and you're so friendly and gentle, like guys probably do feel like they can kind of
Manipulate.
like manipulate or trick you in a way, not realizing that you already know like the red flag, so they still try their luck with you in a way. So I think like it's just because you're so nice and so gentle and so like inviting, you know, so guys probably just think like, oh, she's really kind and like sweet and soft, like I can take advantage of her. I'm assuming that's how like the guy's mind works, kind of thing. So yeah, it's unfortunate because you can't change that about yourself, and I wouldn't want you to. I don't think a lot of people would want you to change something that's so like inherently good in you just because like other guys are dicks, you know, like because they want to take advantage of you, of your niceness, you know. So
But like that's what I mean, like that's why it's even more difficult to find, like there are good guys out there. Like when I think about like my brothers, like they're such nice guys, like they're almost like the perfect package. And when I see like those types of examples as well, and like even with your boyfriend, like with Brandon, like you see people who have like the qualities that you would like in someone, and like you admire it, and then you look at other people and you're like, it's so hard to find genuine people who you can make the effort with and like form those connections. And like I said, like I only found that like once so far in life, so like it kind of makes me think like, is that like a once in a like lifetime thing, or like will it come in time? And like, you know, that whole thing like don't chase, attract. That's my whole vibe right now. So
but I mean it might even be a situation of like right guy wrong time, like you could always find each other again like in the future if it's kind of like meant to be, not to get like all philosophical or anything, but I think like if you think of it in a way like, oh my god, I'm gonna miss that opportunity with that guy, like we were actually so perfect together, but like you guys will find each other again, or you will find something else that's similar or better or like different but like still works for you. So yeah, again, it all boils down to that like perfect person, you know, for you. So
yeah, it's interesting, but like some guys are like for the streets.
And like it's also really sad to think about, there's some guys that will like start being friends with you, but they've known since they started talking to you, like the end goal is to eventually get with you, right? And in your mind, you've made a friend and like you've made a connection, and like you find this relationship important, only to realize later like it wasn't really a friendship on their end. They were actually just doing it to like get close to you, and then you lose a friend, and it's not a nice feeling because you genuinely like connected with this person and thought that they were actually interested in you, and then they actually all of a sudden like just wanted to get with you at the end of it. You know?
And that's literally my experiences as well. Like I spoke about this in like that other episode, and I said that because I gravitate more towards having male friends, because I have experience with brothers, and like it's a brotherly type of vibe that I like, that you kind of want like with that one person. And then when you're thinking something else and they're thinking something else and they have other intentions, it's like, dude, you're just ruining the whole friendship. Like,
and that's why,
why waste my time?
That's what irritates me about guys that like moan about being put in the friend zone. Like, how do you think the girl feels thinking you were her genuine friend, all to find out that the whole time you're just trying to get in her pants? Like, she's also lost something. You're not friend zoned because you're not entitled to her body in that way. In any case, you're not friend zoned, you're just a friend. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it actually really irritates me. And like, this obviously hasn't really happened to me in a very long time, but I've seen it, and it's like, oh, they act like they're the victim because they've been friend zoned, but like you've actually manipulated this girl into creating a whole friendship with you just to like you know, and like it's like a friendship breakup almost, because now you've made it awkward, because now you want to get in her pants, and the whole time she thought that you guys were friends, and now you guys both lose a friend. Like, you know, like guys also don't put like the same, or I'm not generalizing, but whatever, if the shoe fits, they don't put the same, from what I understand, like importance on friendships between like them and a girl, you know, kind of thing. Like I think I would hold like my girlfriends and guy friends in like the same standard, but they don't hold their guy friends and their girlfriends at the same standard. Like they have like their bros, you know, and then the girls are just like, oh, she's like a friend, but it's not like of equal importance to them. So for them to lose like a girlfriend, it's not as bad as like when we lose a guy friend because he just wanted to sleep with you the whole time. I don't know, like that's just what my experience has been in those kind of situations. And like it's really sad, like you weren't friend zoned, like she's entitled to not want to date you, you know. Like
literally. Yeah, so we obviously we've had this experience together, but when like we both have like a guy friend, and then obviously he was friends with you first, and then he became friends with me, and then I thought that we were cool like that. And clearly, like, this is exactly why I don't like being over friendly with certain guys, or actually guys in general at first, because I feel like I obviously get the vibe like they only want to like have sex with you. And then like what happened, like I think the dude like messaged and said something about you almost to make me jealous, and I'm
like, why, we're friends,
like we're friends, and
you're
first
gonna
of all,
hype me up, I'm gonna hype you up, like it's not gonna work, you know.
Literally. And it's like, why would I even care? Like it kind of made me more like kind of cringe, because I'm like, I know what you're doing.
You can see the game, like you can see straight through the game, and it's literally just like, dude, that's not gonna work on me. Like maybe some other girl that's maybe more naive and like unfortunately hasn't had enough like experience in those kind of things, but like it's not gonna work on you, you know. And when you told me that, I was like, that's so strange, because why would I also, what did I do that gave him the impression that he could put us against each other? Like, does he think that I would turn on you or that you would turn on me? Like clearly it doesn't, like it's not computing.
I think maybe like back to like our whole like dynamic, you're obviously like a bit more like badass, like people like aren't gonna mess with you, and then for me, like I'm like this little pushover that people think, like meanwhile I will speak up for myself if I have to, but you just give off that type of energy. And then I feel like he probably thought that I was going to feel insecure about it, or like want to talk to him more because he's giving you more attention. And I'm just thinking to myself, this is cringeworthy.
Not gonna work.
This reminds me of like high school.
Literally.
And like I won't be a part of it. And then obviously I told you about it because I was like, this is just weird. And like just after that, like I was just put off like from our friendship.
You know. And like you were just wanting to be like, we were just both friends with him, and now he's making it kind of like the ulterior motive, and you can kind of see like, oh, he's trying to get my attention, or he wants me to give him attention, which is like very strange, you know.
And
like,
it's also like, no, like it's not gonna happen. Like even when I had a boyfriend, like I feel like guys as well, like they like, just because you don't post with someone or you're not making it known to everyone, they assume that you don't have anyone, so they'll like shoot their shot. And it's like, cool, but like they don't do that to you. And like it's not like you're boasting about Brandon, but like obviously they know you have a relationship, but like it's like,
I think I'm not approachable and you are. Like I'm not approachable, so I don't really get those kind of scenarios. Or if I do, I don't notice. Like I'm not seeing the social cues or something.
Probably.
Maybe. Well, because I just don't like, I don't know.
Like I think it's a blessing in disguise though, because it's like they're like shooting their shot, but you're like not catching the vibe.
I don't even notice, but
like you're not catching it, and they're like just like trying to reel you in, and it's like she's not.
It's not happening, guy.
It's not working, because I mean obviously you're beautiful and like attractive, so like
but so are you. It's just it's different types, so you're attracting like a different type of.
Attract the losers. Or like the weirdos, like not like the genuine nice, like okay, maybe sometimes, but it's always the guys that just want to get into your pants.
Shame.
It's like, seriously, I'm not that easy, and like it's not happening. Like it's not happening.
No. Okay,
so the next thing that I really wanted to ask you, and I think you also wanted to like speak to me about it, but like what are some of your pet peeves about guys. Not Brandon, obviously, because he's
Yeah,
perfect.
like I said, I told you I was trying to think of it earlier. Do you want me to take some?
Yeah.
We were speaking about it earlier, and I was like, it was really difficult for me to kind of come up with things because of how I am as a person. If something bothers me or starts to annoy me, I will tell Brandon or someone straight away, and I'll be like, stop doing that or whatever, before it becomes a pet peeve, if that makes sense. And then like he will just stop doing it, like if it bothers me. So it was kind of difficult to come up with things. So I came up with like somewhat general things that I've kind of would be a pet peeve and has been before in like certain relationships or situations. So the first one is obviously people not picking up after themselves, and that is, I know this is like, I don't know if it's a stereotype or whatever, it's mostly guys that I see do this. And I mean, Brandon is guilty of it, but like he will pick it up if I tell him to. But like obviously other men that have been around or like family members, like guys don't pick up after themselves. They literally just throw shit where they are, and then it gets picked up. And a lot of the times it's the mothers that do that. But anyways, so like that's one thing. But like other like women do it as well, and I have experienced it. That's why I couldn't say it was specifically like a pet peeve of a guy, but it would like pick up after yourself, you know. Then the other one was, where did I write it now? Oh, so the toilet seat being up. I know this is a very common one, but it's not for the reason that you think.
Okay.
So like I know obviously when the toilet seat's up, like if you sit down and it's up, like you fall in the toilet, and like you also don't want to touch the seat. My thing is, when I flush, I always close the lid, because when you and the water spins, the pee particles go everywhere. Yeah. So whether you're a woman or a guy, put the seat down, please, when you flush, because you're spraying your particles everywhere. My makeup brushes and everything are in my bathroom. Please don't. So it's not about like, oh, guys always leave the seat up. Like, no, you putting your little pee particles everywhere. So please put the seat down. It's a hygienic reason. It's not just because like it's annoying, you know, kind of thing. So that's why. And I think like most girls get irritated because they like, it's annoying to put the seat down, or like you fall in if it's not up. I don't have the problem with that. Like that's fine. It's the particles and it's the germs everywhere that like really gets to me. So yeah, even like, you know, because girls sit with the seat down, like I will still close the lid to flush, you know. Yeah. And then the last one is dirty fingernails. And obviously like women tend to have their nails cut, and they do just check your nails, have their nails cut, and like tend to be, I don't want to like generalize, but you know, tend to be neater and cleaner. So for me, like guys' nails that are really long, and like obviously if you want to do that and like paint your nails and stuff as a guy, do it. Brandon, like I paint his nails and stuff all the time, but like if it's like, keep it clean then, if you're gonna keep it long, or keep it like, just keep it neat. And I don't think it's a high expectation, because my dad is a worker, he's a laborer, he works with his hands all day. If his nails can be clean at the end of the day when he comes home and he's been working in dust and with like a lot of dirt, so can you, working in an office space. Why are your nails dirty at the office? Like, go wash your hands. So for me, and also like if you're looking at a guy's hands and you're like thinking like, if you had to touch me with those fingernails, like, no, gross. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's giving feral.
Ew. It's giving feral. So yeah, that to me, like, also like I said, because girls tend to have neat nails, they tend to have their nails painted, so you don't notice. Like my nails being chipped right now is freaking me out. Like it's really frustrating me, but I've been picking at them, but they're clean underneath still. If I see that like line of like black dirt under your nails, and I've only really ever seen it on guys, and like I said, my dad's a laborer. If he can have his nails neat and short and clean, so can you. Like there's no excuse for it. So yeah, I think that is actually like my biggest pet peeve. And like if Brandon has like a little bit of dirt under his nails, I'm like, go wash your hands. Like you're not touching me with those nails.
The thing is as well, like also when like going back to our topic of when it was about guys and like romantic love and like all of that stuff, it's that when you look, like I remember going to parties and stuff like in town, like going to a club, and then you see like a guy and a girl, or like a girl like on the sidewalk, and she's like bawling her eyes out, like she's crying, and like there's people, like couples fight all the time when they go out, and I'm like, I remember telling my boyfriend at the time, I was like, I never want to be like that.
Also, and save it for when you get home, like if you have like a serious argument or conversation to have, like, but the club's not the place.
But I think that when you're like obviously intoxicated, like some people aren't good drunks. Like it's just like something, like it's kind of sad in a way, like to be honest. but like it almost brings out a side in you that like it's like you're in a public place and like you're deciding to have like a full-on couples fight and you're like crying on the sidewalk. It's like it's like just not a good look, and like I definitely feel bad for that, but I feel like those are the types of signs that you should recognize in a relationship. Like if you constantly are going out and it's the same thing, like are you not recognizing the pattern, or do you just not want to?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like it's stuff like that as well. Like I just wanted to touch on that. But
I actually wanted to ask before we like move on, like going back to like guys and like guy friends and stuff, what's like the weirdest DM experience you've had? Have you had like any like strange ones that have like sat with you and you like that was a really awkward situation, or was like so out of pocket?
I think obviously when like on Instagram I do get like a few DMs, and then it's like you can just tell someone's shooting their shot, but I was like but I'm just like I don't like I see it already and I'm like I don't want that, so like it almost puts me off. But I think nothing like weird, but like it's almost like you can just see that someone's just like going for it, or like they're commenting on a pic. Oh wait, actually no, wait, I do have a weird one. I was just, and we both know the person as well.
Do we?
Yeah.
Do I know this person? Like I've met them face to face?
Yeah, you know this person, but basically like they
I don't think you've told me this, because I feel like I would know as soon as you said it.
I don't know if I can share it on here, but anyways, I'll just be very vague. But basically, they're like much older than us, and every time when I post something, it's like I think it's just creepy because it's coming from them. Like it's flattering. I'm not gonna be rude or anything, but it's like almost like they'll send like the flame emoji and be like, "Why are you doing this to me?" And like just stuff like.
Kelly, you're killing me.
Like I swear, I'll show you.
Okay.
It's like it's someone that we both know.
But I don't think you've told me.
No,
or maybe you have, but like. Okay.
But it's just like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Dude, like it's crazy. But yeah, any crazy ones for you?
Oh, I don't get DMs because obviously Brandon's like he's all over my pages, but there's like one that I really remember that it wasn't necessarily the person was strange. I still like met up with him and stuff afterwards, like we spoke and whatever. But like when my ex and I broke up, I deleted all of the pictures, and like literally not even 2 days later did I get a DM from a random guy I've literally never met. We didn't go to schools like in the area together, and I'm just like, obviously I never got DMs like that before, but it made me think of like how many guys go onto your profile, see a guy and then click off and don't like DM you, and it's just like a really weird like thought. But also what was very strange is he started like love bombing like straight away, and like at the time obviously I just like freshly we broke up like just freshly, like obviously you wounded and whatever, and he sent me like this long paragraph. And I'm like a teenager, so obviously I'm gonna be like, oh, this is so romantic and whatever. And then he was like, you know how that guy, like there's I don't know, even like I remember it, what he was like trying to say. He was like, you know, like some guys have that perfect girl for them, and like they have the look and everything that's just like the perfect person, and you're that person for me. And I'm like, dude, I don't know you. You literally saw me on the explore page, like so random. And then the stupid me still meets up with him afterwards, and like he knew the girl that was kind of with my ex as like it was a very strange situation. But for me, like thinking back on it, that like the love bombing straight away, and also not being single for more than like 2 or 3 days and already like getting a guy DMing me, that obviously had never happened before. It was just like, to me that's a weird thing, because like how many guys are going onto your profile like kind of stalking to see an opportunity and then clicking off because they see you've got a guy on it. You know,
but
like,
literally the thing is that like I had a like my crush from high school that I was like, I really really liked him, and like I even told him like obviously after school, and he was like, why did you never tell me? And I'm thinking, dude, like I literally made it known, like we would speak. And I think because like I definitely looked much different in high school, like I feel like I have like the term like glowed up like from then, and I do look a bit different. And I find that like now he seems to make more of an like now he's like sliding to the DMs. Yeah. Now he sees me, and I'm like, where were you like when I actually did like you?
Yeah. Exactly.
Now I'm just chilled with that being your friend, but like I'm not interested in like guys are just weird like that.
Yeah.
So
way
like
their brain works, and sometimes it's very transparent, and you can actually like see kind of where it's going. Like after I met that guy that DM'd me, we hung out for like an afternoon, and then I messaged him and I'm like, I'm not looking for anything serious. Like a month later, I'm dating Brandon. I'm like 9 years. Like I'm not looking for anything serious.
Meanwhile, like 9 years later.
Yeah, literally. So
okay, so let's do a little fun topic now. Let's talk about sex.
Thank you.
Okay, so I feel like
Okay, there's a cover.
I feel like sex is like a very like it's like very taboo, and like I feel like a lot of people, I know we're in like a modern world right now, but like sometimes it is a bit awkward to speak about it because like it's just weird, like especially if your parents are listening or like just in general, it's like, why are you speaking about that? Like, why are you so open? But now I almost like welcome it. I'm like, it's healthy to speak about these things, especially with girlfriends. Like, it's nice. It's really nice to speak about them because you can kind of like get advice and like ask your experiences and all of that. So what I want to ask you is, in like your opinion, is like, do you feel like sex is important in a relationship? Also, do you feel like sex is, or sexual wellness is important for a female? Because I feel like a lot of times the exchange between sex is like almost for the expectation of the guy. And because guys obviously, you know, watch porn, they have like a certain interpretation of what sex should be like, and sometimes it's not realistic, which a lot of people who have watched like on podcasts who are in the porn industry, like they speak about how many takes they do, how many times like it takes to actually get that right shot. Like it's not like it actually is. So yeah, like what is your thoughts on those types of things, especially like being in a relationship, and what is your relationship with sex?
Okay. So like the first thing you said, like, is sex important in a relationship? I think it is, but it's also not the only thing that's important. So I think everyone has to find like their balance of like how much is sex important to you? Is it the only thing? Is it the priority kind of thing? So I think, of course, it's important because it's kind of like what differentiates. I don't know if this is like a weird way of looking at it. It differentiates you between like a friend and like a guy that's just a friend in a way. But obviously there's the romantic feelings and love and whatever. But yeah, I think it's because it's a different way to be connected. Like, as much as people want to like say like you can have casual sex and sex without emotions, definitely in a relationship it's not like that, and you can't not have emotions and sex in a relationship. So for me it's quite important. It makes you feel close to that person. It's a part of you that you, if you're in a relationship, a monogamous relationship, it's a part of you that only you share with that person. So only one that should see it, if you're not into the whole polyamorous kind of vibe. So I don't know, I think it's definitely important, but it's also not the only thing that's important. And like sexual health for women, I think we actually live in like a really amazing age. Like I know we like, there's still a little bit of like taboo and whatever, but there's so many resources now that like we obviously didn't have 10, 15 years ago. There's like the Call Her Daddy podcast. I don't know if I can, like, if she's low-key like controversial or something, but like she talks openly about sex. There's the Honeydew Me podcast. There's like there's so many like platforms now that you can actually learn about, which is really nice because it does start to take the stigma away from it, like women being so open about it. So I definitely think like, because sexual health is your overall health and reproductive health is your overall health. It contributes to it. If you're not healthy in one aspect, you're not going to be healthy overall. And like obviously back 15 years ago or whenever, like sexual health for women was maybe like put aside and wasn't as necessarily important, or people were more ignorant about it. Like there's women that don't go for things like pap smears and stuff like that, which you should be going through, which is part of reproductive health and sexual health and everything. So yeah, I think it's very important because it can also be like complications and stuff. And sexual health in a way of having like a healthy sexual appetite. Like obviously everyone's sexual needs are different and your libido is different, and certain things are going to change it, like where you are in your cycle. If you're stressed, especially for women, like there is the emotional, like if I'm stressed, it doesn't always go where it needs to go kind of thing, and guys don't always necessarily have that. So I think also understanding that can improve your sex life. It can help your partner understand like how to get you certain places that you need to be, you know. So yeah, I think it's very important because like sex is a way to connect with people. If you don't have good sexual health and you're not maybe connecting with the person that you're in a relationship with, or like there's lots of girls that have said, that I've like heard say, in certain relationships they feel like sex was done to them and not something that they were supposed to actively take part in a way. And that's why you see like a lot of women are like, oh, sex isn't that great or whatever, or they don't get the hype around sex, but it's because it's not for their pleasure always. So yeah, and I mean that's like, that sucks, you know? So, like, yeah, I think it's very important. And, like, obviously just to be knowledgeable and, like, educate your partner as well. Have your partner educate themselves, you know, and obviously, like, the porn industry and stuff is very, like...
misleading.
It is very misleading. And, like, it's like, porn stars have a difficult life, actually. Like, if you go into how they do their filming and, like, they're prepping and stuff for certain takes that they need to do. It's like a whole day. I think it's like, oh, it's like an hour of filming kind of thing to get like a few. It's like a whole day. Actually. And it's physical work. Like, it's a lot, you know. So, but again, like, it's that expectation that, you know, you can maybe be rough because that's what you see in porn and stuff like that. And, like, yes, there's lots of women that do like that, but, like, it's not always going to work that way. It's not going to always look as, like, perfect and whatever. So, yeah, I think those expectations for both sides, it's very good to, like, understand that it's not going to work out that way, like, as you see it online. But, yeah, sexual health is definitely very important. And, like, I don't know if this is TMI or not, but, like, if I'm not having a good, like, sexual streak, like, my mental health kind of, like, goes hand in hand with it in a way, because it's a big part of you, like, you know, it's human nature to want to do that. So I think when that kind of falls to the side, or maybe you like neglecting your sex life or whatever, you start to feel it in like your everyday life almost in a way. And it's like, it's a way to relieve stress and obviously like connect with your partner and stuff. So it is very difficult to have like a balanced life if you're not taking care of like your sexual needs as well. As long as you know it's not like taking over your life, like there's also a balance. So yeah,
like I agree with everything that you've said basically. And I feel like also I've spoken to a lot of girls as well where they don't enjoy it because like I told you before, like it feels like an expectation from the guy, like almost to make him happy. So it doesn't give you the room to be like, okay, cool, I want to do this because I want to do this. And then also some guys can't take direction. And I think it's important.
They don't want to take direction. And they feel like it's an ego thing if they don't want to like they're like, no, I know what I'm doing. And it's like, no, you don't.
Like, I think it goes both ways. Like, I think if you have that open communication, like your needs change, like what you like changes. So like if you like speak to each other and be like, hey, like I don't like when you do that, or like what would you like me to do that's gonna make you feel nice, and like it's stuff like that. And I also feel like sometimes like sex for a woman is attached to an emotional aspect. So if she's not feeling that great, like you said, it's not going to be something that you're interested in doing. If you're stressed or tired or whatever,
you got to change your tactic for her kind of thing. You can't just like go into it. Like work up to it, give her a massage, give like I know we're not complicated, but we are also complicated.